Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, we're going to start the elite section off here and the learning curve for Deathmarks. So let's have a look at Deathmarks. Now, actually probably one of the most popular elite choices there are because they're actually pretty good. So they have sniper rifles. Now, as you can see, I don't actually have Deathmarks models, but I do use my pariahs as Deathmarks proxies, which works really well for me. I do plan to get Deathmark models at some point, but it's not my #1 priority, and these guys, they just stand in so well. But yeah, sniper rifles. So the rapid fire guns, fantastic. We all know how good sniper is. More importantly, these guys here can mark a unit, and for the whole of the game, that unit will wound those guys on 2s, which is awesome. Now, there's some nice trickery around, but we're not going to talk about trickery at the moment. Let's have a look at just using these as a standalone unit themselves. So there's a few options, and I've experimented with them all. So the first option will be just to have a unit of these guys and just have them within your flanks. So your flanks would be here, warriors, your immortals, your annihilation barges, whatever you've got, and you put these in with them as well. And that works quite well because it means that there's quite a few choices for your opponent to shoot at. It's fantastic. Obviously you've got the range of these guns. They're going to match the rest of the guns that you have for 24 inches. And if your enemy is shooting at these guys because of their sniper guns, they're not shooting your warriors, your immortals, which is fantastic because at the end of the day that's what you need to survive. So these guys are almost disposable. So that could work pretty well. The other option is to deep strike them. Now, I've tried both a small unit of deep striking and I've tried a big unit of deep striking. A small unit of 5 guys just by themselves deep striking is actually quite cheap. So if you've just got like 100 points left to spend, then these can actually be quite useful because what you can do is you can deep strike, you can target a particular unit. They won't do any more than come down, shoot, and then the next turn they will die. You know, that's going to happen. So they're just a little distraction unit. Just gives you that little bit of flexibility to potentially do some damage on a unit that you can't reach, for example. So that's one way to use them. The other way would be to have a full unit, a whole unit of 10, which packs the point in, and I know a lot of people don't like to deep strike because of the scatter rules, etc. But you know, I personally think that it works quite well. And a unit of 10 is definitely a lot more survivable. You are going to be able to come down, and the chances are you're going to still be around the next turn to be able to move off and shoot a second target. Remembering, of course, that when you mark a unit to win them on 2s, that's it. That's the whole game, just that unit. So that's just something to consider. And of course, this is a much more expensive unit. So the most popular trick which people are using with these guys is to have a cryptic or maybe 2 cryptics in with the unit. So the cryptic that has the strength 8 AP1 flamer, and of course then because that cryptic's joined with that unit, then that will also wound on 2s, which is awesome. And one little trick is to have 3 units of 5 for these guys, with some flamers built in, and then they're going to be deep striking around your opponent and just putting those blast templates on the ground, which is great fun and potentially one of the best options to use these. You could also have that unit in the Night Scythe. It gives you quite a nice almost guaranteed position where you can come out and get those flamers on target. Obviously deep striking will give you that scatter, so you've got to get over the scatter. But in the Night Scythe, that's quite useful. So yeah, there's hopefully a few little tips there. There is one other thing to talk about, and that's the ability to deep strike in your opponent's turn. So that is actually quite a useful option. Now, to be fair, I've not used it yet because you look at it and you think, well, why would you do that? Because all you're going to do is come down and your opponent is going to shoot that unit. But I can see the use for it, but I've just never actually had a chance to use it. So the only way really that I can see that's going to be useful is to use that as a distraction unit. Now I'm not certain that I would do it with a squad of 10, but if I just had a squad of 5 Deathmarks, then as your enemy gets close, you could potentially say, right, I'm going to bring my Deathmarks down and bring them down behind your enemy. So they'll deep strike in, let's say, behind your enemy. Your enemy's here. Now your enemy has to make a choice. So okay, it may be a plan to come this way. It might have to change its plans. It might have to go that way. Now it is obviously going to be quite a big sacrifice, because you're not going to be able to use your guns, and you're not going to take advantage of your of marking the units. So yeah, I mean, I said I just haven't had a chance that I've used it that's going to be needed to be used, but I can only see that's the only reason why I would do that. If you want to take that into consideration, you never know, you might be in that opportunity where you just want to distract your enemy, and bringing these guys down in their turn could potentially be an option. Okay dokie, that's it then for Deathmarks, and we'll move on to the next elite choice in the next video. Thanks for watching.